reviewed a Porsche, and I figured I wanted to try to get back into some of the more fun cars lately. So that's what I've been doing. But this is Porsche's most affordable SUV. It's going to be competing with the Genesis GV70, Mercedes-Benz GLC, BMW X3, just to name a few. And ultimately in this video, we will be testing out and going over everything about this one, from acceleration to braking, steering feel, ride quality, sound system, exhaust clip, all that fun stuff. So having said all of that, what do you guys say? Let's just go ahead and jump right into it. And as always, let's start with pricing. And so MSRP for the Porsche Macan will start at $62,900. Powering the beast is a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder, putting out 261 horsepower at 6,800 RPM, 295 pound-feet of torque, coming in at 1,800 RPM. That power is going to be sent to all 4 wheels through a 7-speed dual clutch. 0 to 60 time coming in at approximately 6 seconds flat, according to Porsche. I'll put it that way because Car and Driver actually clocked it at 5 seconds flat. So Porsche tends to underpromise and over-deliver. I remember that for sure. So that is pretty darn cool. 5 seconds flat there. With MPG numbers coming in at 19 in the city, 25 on the highway, taking premium unleaded fuel. And so before we do any kind of fun acceleration or paddle shifter test here in the Macan, I did want to mention to you guys the drive modes are located to the left and the right of the shifter here. You got sport and off-road, essentially adjusting things like the shift points, the throttle response, and the steering sensitivity. And so now I haven't got all of that out of the way, what do you guys say? Let's go ahead and find it straight away. Let's put the paddle shifters here to the test first, because of course Porsche is known for having very quick reacting paddle shifters, but we're gonna see, we're gonna find out. And yeah, let's see how quickly they're going to react for us here. All right, got her straight away here in 3, 2, 1, go. Ah, I love that sound. They're plenty quick. Definitely no issues with the paddle shifters. And the other cool thing about having paddle shifters on an SUV, I know a lot of people are going to be like, why is there even paddle shifters on an SUV? Is when it's snowing out here in PA, as it quite often does here in the wintertime, you can actually use them to do a little bit of engine braking. So rather than actually hitting the brakes and we're sliding off the road going downhill or something, you could just simply downshift, do a little bit of engine braking, so you're less likely to actually slide off the road. But having said that, they are plenty quick as expected from Porsche. So yeah, huge fan of that. But let's go ahead and give back full control to the Macan here, and let's see how quickly we can get this one here up to speed. All right, found our straightaway here in 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, boom. Yeah, man, that's plenty quick. Definitely not going to have any issues emerging onto the highway. Having said that, there was a little bit of a delay at the very beginning there. Porsche, if you're watching this, maybe a mild hybrid system, that probably would eliminate some of that delay and actually add a little bit of MPGs as well. BMW, Mercedes-Benz, they do a lot of that 48-volt mild hybrid system. I think the Macan would definitely benefit from that because there was a little bit of delay. But having said that, once you hit 3,000 RPM and higher, this thing just goes, son. Even in the base Macan, you guys know there's so many other trim levels to the Macan that are so much quicker than this. But having said that, after that acceleration, I'm not sure you need anything quicker than this. I mean, maybe for some people you do, but this is plenty fine for me. I'll just put it that way. But to go along with that acceleration, as always, braking is equally important. So as expected, 4-wheel ventilated disc brakes do come standard. As far as that 60-0 stopping distance goes, that comes in at 116 feet. If you guys have watched my videos before, you know that is a sports sedan number right there. So love that 116-foot number. As far as braking feel goes, it's amazing. It is absolutely amazing. I love that. That feels better than 116 feet, quite honestly. Instantly brings you to a stop, braking on the firm side of things. I love it, as expected, I guess, from Porsche. But anywho, then touching on suspension and handling. Up front, you're going to get a double wishbone type front suspension. In the back, independent multi-link rear suspension, front and rear stabilizer bars. Do want to mention on top of that, there are a couple options when it comes to this suspension. There's an adaptive damping suspension that goes for $1,360. I always like to recommend that because I always can tell the difference between a vehicle that has it versus a vehicle that doesn't, specifically in the ride quality category, because what that does is it monitors each shock absorber individually, not only adjusting to the road imperfections, giving you a smoother ride, but also tightening up that suspension during heavy cornering, giving you better handling as well. So really giving you the best of both worlds, but it's the ride quality that you're definitely going to notice with that adaptive damping suspension. On top of that, there's also an adaptive air suspension available that goes for $2,750 if you wanted even better ride quality. So you got plenty of options there. But having said that, ride quality has been perfectly fine in my short little test drive here today in the Macan, and you don't always get that with smaller SUVs. So I gotta say, I'm definitely a big fan of that. As far as steering feel goes, it does weight on the heavier side of things, so I definitely like that. instantly points you in the direction that you want to go. I really like the steering feel, actually. That feels good. Not as heavy as like a Tesla Model Y or something like that, but definitely a very nice steering feel to the Porsche Macan. Touching on cabin noise, this is probably the perfect test. I'm going 40 miles per hour right now. I got a road mic hooked up here, and definitely sounds like we got some laminated glass, because this is a very serene cabin here in the Macan, which you don't always get, again, with compact SUVs. So definitely feeling that. And touching on rear visibility, it's actually not that bad. So I don't know what I was expecting. I was expecting a narrower window back there, but taking a look out on my rear view mirror there, I can actually see perfectly fine. So in terms of rear visibility, 100% on point. But that pretty much rounds out the performance segment of this review, you guys. Let's now go ahead and take a look at the exterior of our brand new 2024 Porsche Macan. All right, so here she is, you guys, the new 2024 Porsche Macan, finished in Carrera White Metallic, which, by the way, is a $700 paint option, in case you were curious, but I think it looks dang good. White on the Macan definitely is a good look, but as always, let's go ahead and start with where the Macan is made. Taking a look at the VIN, first character is the letter W, indicating that the Porsche Macan is built and assembled in Germany, as it should be. But starting up front on this one, black front grille, of course, does come standard. Matte black front lip also coming standard, unless you want a body colored front lip, in which case it's $420, in case you were curious. But LED headlights with LED daytime running lights do come standard. They look so dang good, actually. Such a nice headlight design. I'm actually going to get up a little bit closer so I can show you guys the detail on this headlight design. It is pretty stinking cool. And you also got that Porsche lettering found on the left hand side too, so wonderful headlight design. I usually don't even pay any emphasis or attention to the headlight design unless it's really, really nice, like this Porsche Macan. But you do get the automatic feature, of course. You also get automatic high beams. So if you have your high beams on at night and it senses a vehicle coming in the opposite direction, it's going to automatically dim them back to low beams. Then when that vehicle is gone, it's going to automatically bounce it back up to high beams for you there. So very convenient. And of course, I do want to show you guys the Porsche crest up front, because that also looks dang good. And then, of course, just below that, in case you're wondering what that little circular object is in the center of that grille, that's the adaptive cruise control sensor. So anyhow, I love it. Definitely looks very good up front, but let's now go ahead and make our way to the side. All right, and so now, since we are around to the side of this one, gloss black window surrounds coming standard, of course. You got rear privacy glass for the rear windows. Body colored power adjustable side mirrors do come standard. They will be heated with LED integrated turn signals. Taking a look at the side skirts, matte black side skirts do come standard. You can add body colored side skirts if you wanted that option. That goes for $1,000. There's really so many different options for Porsche in general, honestly. Matte black trim on the lower portion of those doors, you guys can see that, but 3 different options available for that one. You can actually get body colored trim on the lower portion of those doors for $680, carbon fiber trim for $1,390, or gloss black trim for $680. So again, with the options, it's crazy. Then taking a look at the wheel setup, you can imagine there's plenty of options here too. But 19-inch double 5-spoke alloys do come standard, but there are 19-inch, 20-inch, and 21-inch designs available to really make this one your own. So anywho, good looking side profile here. Let's now go ahead and make our way to the back. All right, and so now, since we are around to the back of this one, all the way to the top, you got a tiny little body colored shark fin antenna. Just below that, rear spoiler with an integrated brake light. Just below that, rear window wiper asphyxiated to the rear glass. You got that massive LED light bar. The LED taillights look amazing on the Macan, I gotta say. And I like how all the letters are kind of integrated just underneath of that light bar. I have no clue if you can even see that, but in person it looks really good, so just take my word for it. And then just below it all, you will find dual exhaust outlets with chrome tips. So I do believe you guys know what we have to do next here. As always, here is that exhaust clip. Alright, so now, since we are around to the back of the rear tailgate here, when it comes to opening that rear tailgate, there is a button on the key fob There, of course, is a rubberized button on the tailgate itself then as well. But once opened up, cargo capacity comes in at 17.2 cubic feet. If that was not enough space, of course, the rear seats do fold down, bumping that up to 53.1 cubic feet. Plenty of things going on in the cargo area, though. You got cargo nets found on the sides there, chrome-plated tie-down anchors. There is a 12-volt power outlet, and then if you were to lift up underneath of that cargo floor, you are going to find a spare tire, in case you were curious. But then making our way up to the rear legroom, not a ton on paper, 35.6 inches. For reference, I'm an even 6 feet tall. This is how much space I had back there, so I did manage to make it work. Rear center armrest with cup holders does come standard. Rear ventilation as well. USB charging ports back there. If you wanted heated rear seats, that goes for $570, and then rear window sunshades are available for an additional $280 in case you wanted either of those. But then making our way up to the front seats, 8-way power adjustable front seats do come standard. 14-way power adjustable front seats go for $1,130, and by the way, they do come with memory settings as well. Heated front seats do come standard. Ventilated seats go for $650 if you wanted those, and there's actually plenty of different color options available for the Macan. We have this Bordeaux red, but like I said, really with the Macan in general, there's so many different options available for this one. Overall though, seating was plenty comfortable. I didn't have any issues there. But then taking a look at the steering wheel, it is going to be leather wrapped. Again, plenty of options. There's a dark walnut trim you can add to that steering wheel. It goes for $800, and that's going to be heated steering wheel as well. There's also a carbon fiber leather combination that goes for $1,270, but overall, I liked the steering wheel that we had today. I didn't have any issues with it. But now let's go ahead and make our way to the startup, and let me start by showing you guys the key here. You got your Porsche crest on the very top there. Also lock, unlock, and the button to pop the rear tailgate, but it is all keyless entry with a turn handle start. I'm just going to call it that. I don't know what the technical name is, but it is located by the driver's left knee. So as long as you got the key on you, you just put your foot on the brake and turn that knob to the right. And so, but then once started up, you got your classic Porsche gauges. Of course, to the left, you got the speedometer. Tachometer is going to be front and center. You got some of your vehicle statistics there to the right, along with how many miles you have left until you hit empty. There's a little bit of a digital speedometer found in the bottom portion within that tachometer as well. But overall, kind of a basic gauge cluster, but it's classic Porsche, so it's probably why they're keeping it. I get it, that makes sense. But now let's go ahead and make our way to overall interior quality. A panoramic roof goes for $1,670 if you wanted that. We had that option, so I liked that. There's actually 14 different interior color trim leather options, so it's crazy that they offer 14 different color trim options. That's nuts. Also 5 different seatbelt colors. I bet you didn't know that. That's pretty cool. Brushed aluminum door sills are available. We actually have a piano black interior trim that I think looks pretty darn good. You got that classic Porsche clock front and center. I always like seeing that. Got the home light controls found on the ceiling of this one for up to 3 different garage doors. Just behind all of that piano black trim there, you got a little bit of storage, and you got your cup holders. Then within the center armrest, there's a teensy bit of storage within there. You got some USB charging ports in there as well. But overall, when it comes to interior quality, it really is what you want it to be. I'll put it that way, because like I said, there's so many different color options available. That's a cool thing about the Macan. Like, you could really make this one like no other Macan out there, just because the vast variety of different interior options available. So when I walked into the Porsche dealership, they had an entire room configured just for speccing out your specific Porsche, just because of the options available. It's nuts. Anyways, let's now go ahead and take a look at the infotainment screen. You're going to find a 10.9-inch color touchscreen display, Bluetooth and audio streaming, of course, wireless, Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, you gotta love that. Factory navigation system coming standard. You can check out your car statistics up there as well, along with your radio information. So when it comes to the sound systems, there are 3 of them. You're gonna find 8 speakers and 150 watts coming standard. Then there's a 14 speaker Bose sound system that goes for $990. It's actually the one that we have in this one. And then a 16 speaker Burmester sound system that goes for $5,690. That one's expensive. But so now, having mentioned all of that, I do believe you guys know what we have to do next here. Let's go ahead and turn on the radio, see what we got playing today, and let's test out the clarity of this one. When there's nothing you believe but the crawl. Again with the Bose sound systems, absolutely crushing it still. Yeah, plenty of bass, but the clarity on this one was really what surprised me. The clarity is the best I've driven today. This is my third review today, so Clarity was definitely impressive. And again, I've had a Bose sound system in my Infiniti G35 Coupe back in the day. It never failed me, it never broke. Bose is a very reputable company, so yeah, that sound system's definitely working well for the Macan. And so the last thing I wanted to mention to you guys on that infotainment screen, of course, is when you do put the Macan in reverse, you will find a rear view camera. And by the way, an extremely high definition rear view camera coming standard, letting you know who or what is behind you, which as always is going to lead us into safety. And so to start, front side curtain airbags do come standard. In the back, you're going to have latch, aka lower anchors and tethers for children for the rear car seats, rear child door locks, tire pressure monitoring system, but also coming standard, emergency brake assist, forward collision mitigation, lane departure warning, and actually front and rear parking sensors. That's something that you usually don't get standard, so that's pretty cool to see that. So overall, when it comes to my final thoughts here, I'll give you 2 positives and 2 negatives, as I've been doing lately. You do have the iconic Porsche styling, which I am a huge fan of. You see these headlights, you see the Porsche crest, you instantly know what this thing is. And that's amazing. You gotta love it. Porsche has a very rich history there, so for that reason, I love the styling. More utility than a Cayman or a Boxster, so if you wanted something fun to drive, something with a little better driving dynamics, a little more character, this is definitely a solid option. And if you do go on a lot of trips or a lot of vacations, the Macan is going to offer a heck of a lot more utility than a Cayman or a Boxster would. But having said that, it still has less space than just about all of the competition though. It is a smaller SUV, so you got that. And then also, it's a little bit higher priced than the rest of the competition as well. And that may be due in part because there are so many different options available from the Macan, as I've been hounding on. But nonetheless, even the base price is higher than the competition. So I did want to mention that as well. But I do want to hear from you guys. What do you think of the Macan? Put it in the comment section below.